Through Zephire, you can configure both flat rate and rate-based contracts. Flat rate contracts can be configured for accounts that pay a set amount each month, while rate-based contracts can be configured for accounts that are billed based on usage and the number of parkers assigned. To set up a contract, first navigate to the Groups and Tenants menu and select the Contracts submenu. Optionally, you can use the first drop-down menu to select the group account's location, and then use the second drop-down to select the group account that you'd like to configure the contract for. To set up a new contract, click New. Begin by entering the name of the contract. Then select the contract start date and end date. The status of the contract will default to active, but you can set this to deleted or inactive at any time. Then begin by entering the lease information or terms of the contract. Here, you can enter the number of spaces allotted to the contract, the number of parkers and type of market rate that's assigned to the contract, and any other relevant details. Once you've configured these terms, click Save to save the contract. You'll then see the contract within the Select Contract drop-down list. You can also add supplemental files to a contract by selecting the file from your computer and then selecting the attachment type. Next, enter the effective and expiration date for the supplemental files. You can then check the Admin Only box if you'd like these files to be visible only within the admin portal, or leave this unchecked if you'd like the group account to have access to these files as well. Next, click Attach Document. Next, navigate to the Location Information tab. Begin by selecting the location that the contract is associated with, and click Add Location. You'll then see the location listed within the Active Locations menu. Here, you can configure late fees and tax exemptions by checking the box to enable or disable late fees. Similarly, you can enable or disable taxes, and optionally, add the tax exemption number. You can also configure additional billing amounts or fees that are charged to the contract each month. Begin by selecting the additional billing method, the additional billing amount or percentage and maximum, billing description, and charge type. Similar selections will be made for validation charges. If setting up a flat rate contract, you'll want to enter the flat rate amount, and the flat rate charge type. Once you've made these selections, click Save, and the flat rate contract has been configured. If setting up a rate-based contract, you'll want to navigate to the Rate Information tab. First, select the contract location. Then click New to add a new contract. First, select the contract name and the space types associated with the rate. Begin by selecting the rate start date and status. Next, enter the minimum quantity if there is a must-take amount that the account is required to take. Otherwise, leave this field set to 0 if there is not a minimum quantity requirement. Then enter the initial quantity of spaces if there is not a minimum quantity. Next, you can enter a maximum quantity of spaces if there is a maximum amount of parkers that the account is allotted per the contract terms. Otherwise, leave this field set to 0. Next, enter the rate or percentage of the contract terms. This is the amount per space that will be charged to the contract. If this is a percentage, check the percent of market rate box. Otherwise, leave this unchecked if this is a dollar amount. If the contract terms state that this is a $0 rate, enter a value of 0.0001. You can check this box to ensure that the contract will always use the lesser of the market rate or the contract terms, if the market rate were to ever be less than the contract. Next, check the Revert to Market Rate for Additional Parkers box if any additional parkers beyond the defined tiers above should be charged the market rate. If there are additional tiers of rates for a contract you are setting up, levels 2 through 5 at the bottom of the screen can be used. These can be rate values or a percentage of the market rate as well, based on whether you click the percent of market rate box on each line. Once you've entered the terms specific to the contract you are working with, press the Save button. The rate-based contract will then be configured. The final step in configuring both flat rate and rate-based contracts is to add at least one parker to the contract within the Parker Information tab. First, select the name of the contract from the drop-down list. Then click Add Parker. Begin by selecting the parker's name and the space type associated with the contract. Then select the credential number to assign to the parker, as well as the reserved space if applicable. Then select the status, start and end date, and delivery method. Please note that these fields are for flash passback purposes only. Then click Save to save the parker. You'll now see the parker listed within this menu. Since one parker has been added to the contract will now be triggered to be included in the next billing cycle. Zephire will automatically calculate the amount to be billed to the group account based on the number of parkers added to the contract. Similar to group and parker accounts, you can also view credential history and assigned credentials through the contract. If you have additional questions regarding flat rate and rate-based contracts, please visit our full library of Zephire tutorial videos,